You're gonna be watching tonight.
All
Both
right.
of
Well,
them?
actually, we are now live right now. All right. These are both of them. Hey, Zach, did you freeze up? I think Zach froze up. Oh, okay. I don't know what's going
I'm still here.
Oh, okay. It looked like your picture froze up. Oh, there you are.
Yeah.
Now I see you.
Sitting here because I'm just sitting here, just looking at the screen.
Ah. So, all right. Well, we got people starting to jump on. Well, it went away. We did have people on there. The thing is, when it comes to live broadcasting, you got to see people fluctuate on here. So, but let me go here. See what we got. I'm gonna be watching. I will be watching the live chat just in case. Uh-oh, pushing the wrong buttons here. Hold on.
Never turn the heel loose with buttons.
All right, we got people on the watching, and for those who are watching, before we get really into anything, yeah, okay, we got Woolly Booger, awesome. Yeah, if you guys are not familiar with the live chat, you can interact with the live chat. If you're on your phone, just scroll down directly from where you're viewing, or if you're on your laptop or anywhere else, it's actually on the top right hand side from where you're viewing. So feel free to share your input, ask your questions, or anything. We haven't done um, a live podcast in quite a while, and so, but we're here, and like I said, I was before we went live, I was trying to see who else was going to jump on here. I don't know where Baltimore is. Baltimore was going to try to make it on.
Evidently, we lost
See.
somebody already.
Yeah, I don't know what the situation is with him, so I'm not going to worry about it.
I guess the Sasquatch got him.
Oh, here he is.
No idea what just happened.
It might be just a network connection. Sometimes that happens. So
I've got full signal.
Okay. All right. Well, let's see what happens here. Tonight, I want to keep it simple. I thought we could just jump on here and do a simple podcast. Basically, we haven't done one of these in a long time. I was looking at this as more as a kind of a roundtable discussion. Just, maybe everybody bring a little something to the table, what you guys might know, what's going on, more or less some up to date information. And we haven't talked about Bigfoot, research or anything, alleged evidence that's been floating around. Now I know. Zach, you shared with me earlier that you said you had something you wanted to share, and I thought, for starters, we'll go ahead and start with you. So I'll let you take it away, and go ahead and fill us in on what you want to update us about. We lost Zach again.
He's out of here.
Okay, I saw his picture. I just didn't know if he was on or not while I was talking. But so, all right, well. Apparently he has network connection. He must have a poor connection. So I don't know. Maybe that farm he lives on is I don't know, not open up enough or miles from a tower. So.
It's the government, man. It's the government.
What I missed?
Zach, are you there again? Well, I was trying to ask you a question, but then you disappeared.
I don't know what the hell's going on.
All right, you said you got full signal, right?
Well, I'm working on it. Shit. I dropped my phone.
Huh. Well, I'll tell you what. You said you had something you wanted to update us on and share with us. I was wondering if, for starters, to get us started tonight. You want to go ahead and share that with us? Okay, I think he went away again. All right. All right, Shaky, I'm going to jump to you. Wondering if it's, we haven't really talked about Bigfoot related topics lately. And, as far as, activity, do you have any activity or anything special been going on in your area?
The last thing I think that happened, I posted on Facebook. Some of the viewers aren't on Facebook. My son was up here riding his 4-wheeler. I don't know. I guess several weeks now, maybe I'm close to a month. He went down the bottom. My property goes down the side of a mountain, and he carries a gun up here. We got at least a 600-pound male bear, and then we've got the mama with some cubs, and we have other predators around here. We carry guns up here. I mean, even out every day, you just never know.
Oh yeah.
And we got rattlesnakes and copperheads and whatnot. And, my wife and I were sitting on the porch, and you can hear there's a road that goes down to the bottom down there to the stream. And him and his girlfriend rode down there looking for something. I don't know. It wasn't mushrooms or nothing, but it was berries or something. They were down there looking for something. And we have a signal to shoot. If he breaks down, or if there's an emergency, like if it's not an emergency, it's like shoot once, or if it's not an emergency, shoot twice. You know what I'm saying, right?
Oh yeah.
We have this code, so we know if it to panic or not to panic. So him and his girlfriend go down the bottom down there, and it's a good little ways down there, but I can hear the 4-wheeler running. I can hear it. It's not that far that I can't hear it. So I hear the 4-wheeler. I hear the 4-wheeler. We hear it turn off, and it hadn't been running exactly perfect here lately and whatnot. So I hear him. I can hear the 4-wheeler cut off, and all of a sudden we hear him. We hear this. I'll whoop or whatever. Whoop at each other. But I hear that whoop. I hear this whoa. Was whoop. And I looked at Jackie and said, "What the hell is he whooping about?" Maybe the 4-wheeler won't start. She said he would have shot. He wouldn't whoop. I said, "You sure?" I said, being that close, maybe he would just whoop instead of shoot. She said, "No, he would shoot." So I sat here for about 5 minutes, and I said, "Well, let me give him a little bit of time and find out what's going on." Well, I wound up whooping back at him. Well, all of a sudden you hear, sound like somebody breaking a tree up or beating on something or whatever down there. I said, "What the hell are they doing?" Anyway, we hear the 4-wheeler start back up, and it comes back up the road, and it comes back around, and they come down the driveway, and then they come up on the porch, and he walks up on the porch, and he says, "Man, we heard you whooping." I said, "Yeah, I whooped back at you." He said, "Dad, I didn't whoop at you." I said, "Yes, you did." And Shaggy says, "Tom, we heard you whoop. You whooped first." And Tommy's like, "Dad, I didn't whoop." So when he went down there, he must have stirred something up, because that's what it was. It must have been letting them know somebody came in on them. So I don't know if one was down there sleeping in the day, or he just startled it, or what. But it was really weird how that all transpired.
Wow.
But it was between us and him. It wasn't It wasn't on the other ridge over there. It was on our property. It was that close. I mean, we could tell that. So.
Yeah, that's awesome, though. Now, hey, one thing I never asked you before, as far as like on your property in the surrounding area right there, where a lot of the activity does take place, how is the surface of the ground, like the terrain? I mean, is it kind of?
It's real rocky. Everything around here is real rocky or covered with leaves. And I get down by the stream. There's a couple soft spots. We found bear tracks down there and stuff, but I've never been able to find a print.
Right.
And I've never been able to walk over this whole property either. But where I've walked, I've never found a print. Now I'm starting to go over to. There is a big place over to the east of me. It's a lake. And man, they've had some sightings over there, and that's where I've been starting to go to check out some things. And excuse this noise if you hear this air conditioner running.
Oh no, you're fine.
But yeah, that's I've been starting to go over there and check things out and look around more. But
yeah,
I
no,
finally
that's
figured this
interesting.
out. I ain't gonna be able. You ain't gonna be able to see my pretty face, but you'll be able to hear my pretty voice. So
All
the
right,
video was eating up my signal, and that's the reason I wasn't able to get a good signal.
gotcha.
but you know,
All right.
Jackie and I kind of figured something out there, Daniel.
Yeah, what's that?
Sitting out here, like we have noticed that we will hear a howl or a whoop right before we hear that train coming up the mountain over on the other side of the ridge of the train track that goes along the river. And right before that train comes through, you'll hear a whoop or a howl or something will happen. You'll hear something. Usually, and not all the time, but sometimes you know, periodically you'll hear them make a noise before that train comes.
Oh, okay.
I got
So,
something to say about that, but just an idea.
All right, Forrest Gump, go ahead.
Well, out here
Well,
we got.
that's what Forrest Gump says. I'll say something about, like, you know, that's one of his sayings.
Well, this is just as an observation from what I found out here in my area, because we got a set of train tracks not even a quarter mile from here. And that's where all the small game will hide out and everything underneath them train tracks and along the burrows that's inside of the hill. And that's where all the small game, and that's usually where all the predators and scavengers usually like to hang out at. And probably whenever you hear, right before you hear that train coming, you hear them start hollering, they're sending out a warning call for everything to get out and go into hiding until the train passes, you know?
Yeah, that's very possible.
Because you know how there's always a lookout animal somewhere, whether it be coyotes or wolves. They'll start barking if they feel like there's a danger being in the area and they feel threatened.
now, one thing I wanted to ask you, Shaky, you mentioned train tracks in your area. Where are the train tracks in your area? Like, how far are they from your home?
In a straight line, maybe a mile to the north. They're in between. They're right in between us and Maryland. They follow the Potomac River.
Have you ever looked around or been around that general area?
Man, I don't go to. I've never been down around them train tracks except I go when I go to church. I go down there. They're really funny about these train tracks around here, man. They've been. If you get caught riding a four wheeler on them things, they confiscate your four wheeler. They are really anal about these tracks around here.
Oh wow.
Yeah, they got police monitoring the train. You know, it's kind of weird about that. That's funny that you think that you asked about that, because it's funny because they really monitor the tracks around here. There's always a CSX cops and stuff always around here. Man, I mean, always. They don't want nobody around the tracks.
Huh. It's interesting. Yeah, because you know, a lot of people, they like to play on tracks and everything else.
Yeah.
You know, but you know, I've heard rumors where, you know, a lot of people believe that Sasquatch, you know, will use train tracks for travel. You know, well, for one thing, on the most part, if it's not a heavily active train railroad track, it's also considered a path that leads to least resistance as well. So, you know, so I mean that I believe that could be a good possibility that they may play around and use them. But
also it follows a river too. I mean, these tracks follow along that river too. So you know, you got the river there, and it's kind of weird because if you look on sighting reports, there's sightings to the east, there's sightings to the west, and and the sightings along these counties are what follow these tracks in that river.
Right.
And it's just kind of weird.
Path of least resistance.
Well, if they follow the river for food and water.
Right.
So, you know, it's.
Huh. Yeah. As far as reports and stuff go, now this one here, I don't know the detailed information about this one. I just was told about this one because the gentleman actually went live about this. Yeah, Big Ray and KB from the RIP Paranormal Radio Talk Show. Well, it was actually Big Ray who actually went live on his own. He went live on his own phone, and he was actually talking about a report of a sighting just about an hour south of me. And it was on Interstate 64 West, right on the Virginia line and Virginia and West Virginia borderline. And And he said, I'm not sure who saw it, who reported, but the police, regular local and state police were there. They responded to the phone call, the 911 call, and I don't know what the big deal. If there was a big deal involved, I think it was just whoever called was actually pretty much psyched out, freaked out about the whole thing, and called the police, and and so they actually went to respond to it. This ain't the first time I've heard of something like that, but it was. He said he'll keep me up to date if he learns any other information. Who knows? It might be something that might go in a paper or something. Depending on if it's something that they may want to release information about. But, now, this is actually the same location that he mentions that he had his encounter and heard some weird and experienced some weird, crazy stuff. Now, because when he shared information with me in the past, I told him, I said, I've gathered some information from a hunter that I don't even know that shared some information from that general area. So, that makes me really wonder how active that is, And if you think about it, if you kind of do an alignment or, look at the general area, that's actually not entirely far from where Tracy Arnold actually had a sighting. Except this year might have been a little further north of Tracy Arnold's sighting. But it's still, to me, the way I gather it from the information, it seems like it's kind of almost in a certain perimeter, a general location. So apparently this is a very hot, active area where they must travel or work around. So if there is any other information that is leaked about this, I definitely would love to hear about this. But well, the one thing the one thing I found very interesting is that, hey, it's in Virginia and it's only about an hour south of me. So, so that was kind of exciting to hear that. And like I said, the source, I mean, for somebody to call the police about something like that, I believe they must have seen what they believe they said they saw. So, I don't know.
You reminded me of something.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Talk about a hunter. There's a guy up here I'm doing, and I'm not going to say his name or nothing because I know he don't want me to mention his name. But I'm knowing this guy for 5 years, and we got talking about Bigfoot here, and it's only been a couple months ago, and he got talking about he was hunting one day, and I don't know how long ago it was. He told me, but my mind ain't worth a shit anymore. But it's been a while back. I know this has been a while back. But he was hunting on private land, and it's along that same train track, and along that river. But it's owned by a company, and I don't know if you have to know somebody to hunt on it, or if it's lottery drawn or whatever. But anyway, he was hunting the land, and he said he was way back on it. He said he went further back than any hunter would go because he didn't want to be around any hunters. He wanted to be way away from everybody. So he was way back on his land, and he was walking, and he said he looked up on the ridge, and he saw something up on the ridge looking at him. So he said he knew it wasn't there anybody, wasn't any other hunters, but he definitely knew it was somebody up there. So he went up to see who it was. He got up there, and the person wasn't there, but he said as he got to the top, he could see it going away from him, and it was big and hairy and dark. And that's what he saw. But he said he had never even mentioned it to anybody because nobody would believe him.
No, well, that's awesome because that reminds me of another one I mentioned not long ago. Was a buddy of mine contacted me, and he said it was him and his sister-in-law. They were driving on. The location is it's outside of my main research area, just north of it. But it's in between where my general main research area and another location where I've done some minor investigating from where my buddy Richard took me to. Let's see, hold on one second. And they were headed westbound. They were still on the Virginia side, and this is probably about 20 minutes, or if that, from West Virginia borderline. They had two dark, hairy, upright figures cross the road on them. Two of them, not just one, but two of them. And that was pretty much, they weren't able to get into much detailed description, I guess because they were dark, and it was later in the evening when they saw the two dark, upright figures cross the road on them. And that was actually, I want to say, within a month and a half, 2 months ago. So it seems like this time of year, because summer, it's been a lot of warm weather. Yeah, we've actually had a lot of rain too. So yeah, it seems like there's a lot of heavy activity stirring up here, right here in Virginia alone, just from what I'm hearing. Uh, so they're making their rounds, they're getting around, they're crossing road, public roadways. Now, of course, in the general location where these individuals saw this, I know this area very well, and where they crossed is not but a forest on one side, forest on the other. It's in the national forest, same national forest that I research in, except it's about 45 minutes north of where I mainly researched. So, well, actually, and maybe it's not quite that far. It depends on which way you take. It's actually just on the other side of the mountain over there, and so yeah, those forests. I mean, because the national forest that I research in, it's over 130,000 acres of George Washington National Forest. So yeah, the Squatches are active and they are moving around in the George Washington National Forest. So, but I know I've heard other stories from other individuals. Shaky, do you recall? Oh man, I can't believe I'm forgetting her name. The one lady we had on here, she's Native American. She's a local here in Virginia who actually shared some information. When I'm trying, I can't even think of her name. Kind of a younger, she's probably in her late. No, I would probably say early to mid 30s, maybe. Maybe a little. I'm not good with names, but she is Native American. She was on the podcast and talked with us one time. But this is actually the same location where she actually experienced some activity.
Yeah, I remember, and I can't think of her name either. It's been a while. Oh man.
Yeah, I know. I know. I still got on my friends list. I'm not good with names sometimes, but
I know.
So, at this time, about 4 years ago, maybe 5 years ago, well, I'm gonna say at least 4 anyway. There was an individual who actually investigated a road sighting from an old elderly lady who claimed to have seen 2 figures cross the road on that same highway, on that same main road. I call it a highway, but it's not a highway. It's a road that runs into West Virginia. And well, let me put it to you this way. I will mention it's Route 33 that runs into Brandywine, West Virginia. So I'll share that much information anyway. This individual is he claims to be retired from the Bigfoot community, but he was actually on the news channel talking. It was actually on the news, where he investigated the road crossing from an elderly woman in that same area. So, yeah, so that's pretty cool. Zach, are you still with us?
Yeah, bro, I'm right here.
Okay, well, since we got you, let me jump back to you real quick. Now, you said you had some information you wanted to share. I was wondering if you want to go take that away.
Well, I was going to tell you, you remember one little tidbit that's off the subject. You remember John Stewart we had on Squat Zone a couple months ago?
Oh, yeah.
That boy's running for governor of Illinois now.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he was just parading the other day.
Oh, well, that's very awesome of him because he's been in politics for quite a while. He used to actually, many years ago, I think he tried to run for Congress or as a congressman a long time ago, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
Or was
you're right.
Oh, yeah, that or Senate. One of the
Senate, yes.
Yes. But yeah, that's pretty cool though. I'm actually glad and surprised to see that he's still involved with the politics. So, and not to mention he is a Republican from what I understand. So that's cool though. And all right. What was I gonna say? We do have viewers watching the live chat. I just want to give you guys a heads up. If you guys have any questions relating to anything, regardless if it's something we're talking about or something that we're not talking about, feel free to bring that up. And because I am watching the live chat right now as we speak. In the world of Bigfoot, let's I made a post the other day, and this was actually regarding to the 2018 event that we got coming up, the E.C.B.R.O. First Annual Virginia Bigfoot Conference, being taking place next year. I will not mention details, but over the next few days, hopefully, if certain individuals do get back to me on a few things, there will be some changes made regarding that event. Regardless, at this time, that event is still taking place, so don't be discouraged. The event will be taking place, but again, there will be some changes. One of the changes I did mention so far, which was out of my control, was Dan Baker. He had to resign due to some major health issues, which was kind of a sad, some sad information. And however, we are, I'm still going to continue to make announcements of speakers. So with Dan Baker dropping out of the speaker lineup, right now we still have Tracy Arnold, M.K. Davis, and then the new one I mentioned for this month was Ken Gearhard. Ken Gearhard is one of our confirmed speakers. He is one of our confirmed guest speakers. And keep in mind, I do have others to name, but I'm only naming one per month. So yeah, we got Tracy Arnold, Ken Gearhard, and M.K. Davis as our speakers for next year's event. So that we got some great guys lined up, and once we continue to go through the naming of these speakers, there'll be other information later on gathered together. I will do a special presentation with all these speakers. It will mainly be a promo video that I'll do, promoting the event and the speakers. Because the closer we get to the event, it'll be more heavily promoted. Many of us are looking forward to the event itself. And we have some more. We have actually gained some new vendors, which will be very interesting. I'll get more into details with vendors as well. I'm not going to sit here and try to explain the vendors or who's who or what's going to be doing what. But there will be vendors, and our vendors are pretty well squatchy people. When I say squatchy people, some of them are not Bigfoot related. However, when they learned about our event and showed interest, they plan to make it a squatchy event because their merchandise that they do sell will be Bigfoot related items, and which will be awesome. So at a later date, I'll get more in detail with our vendors. I'll have a list of vendors. So someone, a group of our vendors with everyone could be looking forward to. So I see Baltimore is on the live chat. Baltimore, if you're interested in joining us live, you do have I did send out a link in the open chat on Facebook. So feel free to come on in and join us, Baltimore. Let's see what else we got going on here. Well, let's see. There is another topic which I think I'm going to leave alone today. I kind of was talking to a few of you guys about it earlier today, and it's just one of those things. I don't know. I guess to be professional about it, I think the main thing is to leave it alone and let the guy rant about it. So, because
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, the gentleman made a YouTube video, and it concerns me. It's regarding me, which it's very hypocritical. But I'm gonna leave that alone. So there's no sense in getting into that. I'll save that for another time, maybe. What else we got going on here?
I got my camp out coming up.
Oh, do you? What do you got?
Yep, October 6th through the 8th.
Oh, okay. Huh. All right. Well, you'll have to definitely keep us up to date on that and let us know what you come across with that. That'll be awesome.
Oh, yeah.
All right. We got a question on the live chat. And with this question, I'll looking at on the panel. I'll start with Shaky on this one. This is coming from Woolly Burger. How often do you hear about Bigfoot carrying a walking stick or a staff? That's interesting. How about it, Shaky?
Never. I've never heard of it.
Yeah. As far as carrying a walking stick, I personally never heard of that either. I have heard a story or a report from people seeing a Bigfoot holding a heavy stick in their hand, but I can't say it was a walking stick. So I don't know. What about you, Zach?
Not exactly a walking stick, but I've heard it was one of the earliest reports of the Ohio grassman. It attacked a father and a daughter one time on a walk somewhere in Ohio. I don't remember where it said it was. And the grassman was supposed to be carrying a bludgeon in his hand, and started to attack the father, and the daughter started pelting it with rocks, and it eventually went away. But whenever it comes to walking sticks, I really don't think. I mean, unless it's like some like old age or something, it needs help getting around or something, it can't stand on its own 2 feet. It's the only logical explanation I could give that would regard if a Bigfoot would actually be carrying a walking stick, period.
So, well, that's interesting you say that. I mean, so you believe there's a possibility they may have enough intelligence to use a stick or something to aid them in their walking or something possibly.
Yeah, right.
Now I got a theory on that one. As you opened up that can of worms, I'm gonna get into it.
Go ahead.
Now
we're in trouble.
my theory is when they get to the point where they can't walk or they become crippled or to that point, I believe the other ones jump its ass, tear it apart, and it becomes food. Just like any other primate in the wild. And that's just my opinion, but I've heard a report of that, and you got to take it with a grain of salt. But I've actually heard that, but that's just also my opinion. I think it's it's just it happens in the wild with other animals. You let a coyote, a wolf, or anything else once become injured or bad enough, it can't survive. The other ones turn on it, and they attack it, and it becomes food.
Yeah,
only the strong survive.
But that's just my personal opinion on that.
Right. I have to agree with that. Absolutely. Wooly Burger goes. He adds a comment. He said in my opinion they use some type of club or stick in his area, which that's interesting. But yeah, again, as far as holding a stick, because apparently we believe they do tree knocks. So a lot of us hear tree knocks, wood on wood. So yeah, I believe they carry sticks or they pick up sticks or heavy, maybe small logs, of various sorts to use. Again, for communication and or warnings, or whatever. So yeah, I mean, I can't disagree with them carrying sticks, but yeah, I agree with you as well, Shaky. When they become old like that. So, there was something else I was going to bring up. Kind of skip my brain there for a second, but it'll probably come back to me here in a little bit. Let's see.
You were going to turn it over to me because I had a couple announcements before.
Oh yeah, go ahead. And I'm gonna. Baltimore just asked me to send him the link direct, so I'll go ahead and do that while you talk about that. Go ahead.
All right. Well, like I said, I got the camp out coming up in October. What we're all going to do is it's in the heart of one of my research areas in Johnson County, Illinois, in Ferncliff State Park. It's free to come out. If anybody wants to come out, you're more than welcome to. I'll send you the directions via Facebook Messenger or email if you want to do it that route. Every person is responsible for their equipment and their rations that they bring, especially dress for cold and rainy weather. It's October, so that's pretty much whenever the weather's changing on a dime. Of course, here in Southern Illinois, you can have all 4 seasons pretty much in the same week. So just dress for the weather accordingly. No alcohol, no drugs. If you want to smoke cigarettes or chew your chaw, it's more than welcome. Just come on out. If we don't have any kind of activity, if they go into hiding, at least we have a good time with fellowship and hanging out. So,
all right. Very cool.
No alcohol or drugs.
Yeah, that leaves you out.
Yeah, I ain't gonna be there. Mm-mm.
No, there's actually some pretty good terrain there in Ferncliff State Park. They got mountains. They got a big old lake out there in the heart of the park where you can do some good fishing and everything. Um, they got some good campgrounds. They got campgrounds um, for your regular campers where you got electrical hookups. You got a dump station, shower house, and where we're going to be staying at's the C-class style camping where all you got a water spout and two outhouses for guys and gals.
Hmm. All righty. Well, actually, talking about camping events, for those who are familiar, that we just got done one of ours, and I've been putting it off. I've actually started a blog. Actually, it was a report that I'm putting together as a blog, and it's not going to be a typical report. I like to when I do reports, I don't do them that often. But when I do reports, I like to put them more informative, like more of like a article story. So, and I do break down information and try to get very specific as possible with it, with what we either experienced or and or what we came across, et cetera, et cetera. So I did start a blog slash report, and I have it saved as a draft under my website. I have not finished it yet. However, we did have a good week. It was a very interesting week. Some of it was disappointing. There were some nights we didn't hear nothing. It was dead. But we had some couple of. I will say this that Greg Corbin. There was a couple nights, and this happened on two different nights. That with his vocalizations that he gave off, we've actually got responses two nights in a row from him. One was a tree knock, and that tree knock was right behind a camp. It was one of the coolest things ever. We were not expecting nothing like that to happen. The second night, yeah, it was right behind camp. The second night, when he gave off the same vocalization, and it sounded like it came from across the road down by the bathhouses in the woods down there somehow. And it was, I mean, it sounded like when he gave off of that vocalization, how the return call was just like that, and it wasn't short either, but that there had our blood pumping right there. And the thing is, we walked outside of our camp. This is about 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night. We grabbed our lights. We walked down there. We had to go investigate. Was there anybody down there, or was there anybody camping down there? Which there is only one spot where anyone could be camping down there, and that is past the bathhouses, across the bridge, and on the other side of the river, there's a little spot right there. There was nobody down there. We didn't see nobody. There was no signs of vehicles down in that area. We didn't hear. If there was a vehicle down there, we would have heard it take off or something, and or would have seen headlights. And so that there was exciting. And so those are a couple of things we experienced while we were there. I thought that was awesome. And while we did a couple of our explorations, our hikes, some right there behind camp, we were coming across some very interesting impressions, some tracks. Greg was finding a lot of interesting tracks. Some of them we found together were actually fairly large. Some of the smaller ones we came across, they were kind of inconclusive. We believe they could have been either or. They could have been bear or maybe a small squatch. We don't know. But some of them were very interesting. So, you know, like I said, I'll put more information together. I'll continue to do the blog when I get around to it because I still have video footage of the whole, of the camping event itself. I still have yet to get that put together. That is sitting in my SD cards. So, what's up, Baltimore?
Oh, not much.
Great to have you, man.
Thank you.
Let's see. So yeah, we'll get that information. I'll update the information eventually. I just kind of been, slacking on a lot of stuff. I've been, kind of laying low. A little tired here and there, but especially with everything I've been having going on, I kind of been trying to get back in my zone and get myself a little bit more organized because with everything that's been going on my end, it's kind of been throwing me off. So so I've been slowly recouping, getting back together. I got a few things to get back up and going again, but going to be a little while yet. But I'm just glad that we could join together here and do this live podcast because it has been quite a while. So for those who are viewing and those who are subscribed to this YouTube channel, you can be on the lookout for. I will be posting a field video when I get that put together. So, but Baltimore, since we got you on here, I mean, we haven't talked in a while. I was wondering, you got any information you'd like to share with everybody? Any kind of fresh information or anything?
I want to say yesterday or day before yesterday. I'm walking down the creek area, and I was looking for fences to mend. Apparently, there were some cattle that got out, and so what I was doing, I wasn't basically looking for Bigfoot or anything like that. I just wanted to mend fences, and then so I was looking at surroundings pretty well. And as I'm turning around there, and I looked in some area to the creek bed, and it actually turned into like something like a little shelter like. And it was a good place for something to hang out there or something to hide there in the corner. It was pretty nice. And so I actually went in there, but it wasn't that deep at all. And then
Oh.
when I started moving the fences and everything like that, and then I heard a noise, and it sounded like a bird. And but the thing is, anytime I hear stuff like that, I don't go over there to go find it or to find out what was actually making this noise. I just left it alone because I'm going to go back and in a couple of days and go work on some more fences, and maybe whatever was making that noise would come out.
Right.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Now, how far away was this? Is this near your home? You said, or
It was still in the Normanna area. It was still
okay?
down the creek, and what we have down here is we have a lot of limestone.
Hmm.
There's some areas that are pretty deep, and there's a lot of areas that are pretty washed out, and there's a lot of natural springs that are actually dried up, and I actually found a few. But there's sometimes that these areas are, they have like little cavities in them, just big enough for somebody to stay there for a little while.
Right.
There was actually an area that which I have not found yet, but I was hoping to find one day, where a man actually lived in one of these caves, and
Oh wow.
they call him Pappy Joe, and you're talking about maybe in the 1930s, 1940s, and we know there's actually a lot of caves down here because of the limestone.
Oh, so yeah, was this guy like? Is that what he used for a home? Like, he was basically kind of a homeless guy then.
Correct. That's what he actually used for a
Oh,
home, and he actually talked to actually talked to the landowner and actually asked him if he could stay there. And the man said, I have no problems with it. So he stayed there forever. So,
oh wow,
yeah.
man, that's
See,
pretty cool though.
yeah, and the thing is also too, Daniel, was fascinating as well. There's sometimes again we study the environment. I mean, we study nature and everything like that. But
Yeah,
this day was super hot. Yesterday was maybe like over 103 degrees yesterday, and
yeah.
yesterday was probably like 106. And what was wild about it is the deeper the creeks are, the cooler the temperature is.
Right.
Because and then the thing is again, even though this animal has all this uh, hair and everything like that, I mean just the cooler temperatures down these creeks, an animal like that can actually stay there.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Uh,
Yeah,
here, I,
and I don't know how y'all's stuff's going on down there, but we have a lot of mesquite beans growing out here. We have millions of them. The fruit supply has increased. We have our wild persimmons coming out. We got our wild Mustang grapes coming out. I mean, our food supply here is just tremendous.
mm,
And yes, so that's why I haven't heard any reports or anything like that for around 3 weeks. And normally, every time I hear something like that, where the animal is not around for 3 weeks, it's normally like in Orangedale, or he'll probably be like in the Kennedy area. So I'm hoping for it to come back here in a couple of more weeks.
okay.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I have a question for everybody. This is kind of a more of a survey question, and actually, I think it's a very good question, and there's a reason behind why I'm bringing this question up. And because some people think it's a little absurd that it's regarding foot tracks and finding tracks. My question to you, and I'll start with you, Baltimore, with this question here. In your opinion, if an area is very active, okay, and say if it produces, you got a lot of terrain, and where a creature such as Bigfoot being elusive, and that they stay well hidden, but yet they're very active throughout the whole area. Do you think it's crazy that that one individual knowing the land very well, and they're very observant over a period of time, they come across a lot of different tracks and finding alleged Bigfoot tracks? Is that a little too far fetched for you to believe, or is that very possible that an individual could find tracks often?
Me personally, I would say often no, because I was very very lucky to just find one track, and I'm grateful for that. And
Right.
but thing is again is but I went to an area that I know that has Bigfoot in it, and it's like in a county road in Kennedy, Texas, in the 72, Farm Road 72. And there was a
Okay.
big and there is a big creek down there, and this creek for it was like around, I actually walked it. It was maybe like around 3 miles, and I know that there were some Bigfoots there because of the feeling that I got, the feelings that I got. And
Right.
I ran and I walked down that creek bottom, and looking for tracks for Bigfoot down there, and I could not find one in the sand or anything like that. And I believe that it's try to hide its tracks, like it would jump over the creek like that. There would be no tracks.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
so the only way that, for me personally, the only way that he would leave a track or something like that would um, that he's trying to get away something real quickly. Uh,
Right.
yeah, but I was, like I said, I was fortunate. Well, I actually have two tracks actually. One is a photo
Hmm.
track. One is a casting track of when I cast it.
Right.
But for them to see him every day, it would be very very rare.
Yeah. Um. Well, that's interesting. Reason there's a reason behind why I'm asking this question. In my area, I come across tracks a lot. I really do. And I mean, I could choose, if it's good enough, because a lot of the tracks I come across, they're not always the best looking track. But
Right,
if it's something that will produce, enough toes and the right kind of details, I'll take a chance and I'll cast it. You know,
right,
because there's creek beds and muddy areas where I always look around those areas. Those are the areas, like, if I'm gonna get a perfect track, it's got to be around here somewhere. Because which I look around the creek beds and the muddy areas all the time, and I always find bear and deer. And because they come down to those creeks and stuff when there's water in them. That's where they drink from. Well, I was like, I know the squatches come through this area, but why don't I ever come across squatch tracks in this area? I find a lot of awesome impressions elsewhere and good tracks elsewhere, but never around the areas where you think it would be so obvious. Um, but see, the reason I'm bringing
see,
this up because, oh, go ahead.
yeah. The thing is, again, is also the terrain.
Yeah,
My terrain. There's sometimes there's grass up as high as our knees. There's a lot of brush. There's a lot of limestone on the top of the floor and everything like that. And everything depends upon the terrain. I mean, the area that I'm at again is so grassy and everything like that. So that's why it would be difficult to find a track. When they're actually smashed on the grass.
right.
Um, See, and again, everything has to do with the terrain, because down in Virginia, I lived there for over 25 years. I lived in Virginia Beach, and there's a lot of pine needles
Hmm.
around that area. And there's a lot of marshy areas around that area, which is perfect for an area to have tracks in that area, because it's always moist and wet. So, but compared to South Texas, where we're normally dry.
Right. All right. Well, all right, I'm going to explain why I'm actually asking this question after I go through the rest of the panel. Shaky, I want to jump to you next. You know, what's your opinion about that as far as finding? Is it common or is it? Well, what's the right way? You know how I worded it in Baltimore. Like, you find it impossible for any one individual to come across tracks.
All right. Let me put it this way. Where you're looking, that if the terrain allows it, then it shouldn't be a problem. And I'm gonna say this: does a deer walk around looking where it steps, whether or not it does? An animal doesn't walk around thinking, "Gee, do I step here so somebody doesn't know I stepped here?" These creatures are not going to be walking around thinking, "I shouldn't step here. I don't want to leave my footprint here."
Right.
Come on, really?
I mean, give a damn.
You know, these things are not thinking. You know, and people are going to be saying, "How the hell do you know what that thing's thinking?" Look, man, come on. Let's look at reality. These things are animals. How does he know it's an animal? Oh my God! All right, you know, these creatures, animals, whatever you want to call them, you know, whatever. They are. Your dad just texted me.
Yeah, I got it too.
Yeah. Anyway, you know, they're not walking around looking at every step they take, thinking, can I step there? Am I gonna leave my track? I don't want somebody to see my track. I can't step there. I don't want somebody to see my track. They're not walking around doing that shit. They're going through the woods, probably thinking, you know, damn, where am I gonna get my next meal at? You know, or damn, where am I gonna hook up with the next honey at, or you know, or where am I gonna get a drink of water? You know, they're not worried about where they're stepping.
Yeah.
You know, so if you live in an area where it's soft ground, wet ground, and tracks are very easy to be left, hell yeah, you're gonna find tracks. If you live in a place where it's rocks and hard lime, you know, hard ground and rough terrain, then no, you're not going to find tracks. Yeah. If you live in a sandy area, no, you're not going to find tracks because the sand will just, you know, once they step the sand off, flows back in.
Right,
and
collapses
if you get rain every 2 or 3 days, as soon as it rains, the rain washes the tracks away. So it all depends on where you live in the climate.
Exactly.
Preach it, bro. Preach it.
Oh no, I'm just saying that's reality of it. That's the reality of it.
Right.
No, I agree with you.
They aren't hovering. They're not going to hover around about 3 inches above the ground, not leaving any track at all. I mean, these things don't float, so they got to be leaving something.
Exactly.
You know,
exactly.
I mean,
like in my area, it's very common to find. I mean, I get crap loads of deer tracks everywhere, and the bear tracks are. I mean, I'm constantly pointing out the bear tracks. Well, we got a bear track here. Look at this bear track. Look at this. Some of them are small. Some of them are big. And I come across, well, look at this. This appears to be a Squatch track, you know. And if it shows enough detail, if I got plaster, yeah, I'm going to cast it if it looks good enough. But so yeah, I mean, absolutely, I agree with you 100%. So, but what about you, Zach? You think it's uncommon, or you know, or if it's absurd or crazy to find, you know, for any one individual to come across a lot of tracks in their general research area, if it's an active area? I mean, what's your opinion about that, Zach?
Well, I mean, like what Shake said, it depends on the terrain out here in Illinois, especially in my area here. It's rock. I mean, it's hilly. We got bluffs out the butt with this place out here, and all we got really for there to be any chance of leaving a footprint. All the footprints I've found have been in creek bottoms, down in the creek beds or alongside them where the ground's real moist. You ain't gonna find them anywhere else up on these hills where it's direct sunlight, because right now we're in a dry spell. The ground is harder than a 20-pound sledge, and it's so dry it's cracking. You ain't, no matter how heavy a damn animal is, it ain't gonna leave a footprint out here on this place. So it's gotta be the right timing when the weather's right and everything, if you're gonna have a sliver of a chance to even find a track.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why I tell people quite often. I say, like, you know, like when we go camping, like I know when I go camping, or hey, say this coming Friday, man, we had a good heavy downpour. It rained. Okay, then it's you know, it tampers off after midnight. Man, Saturday would be a great day to go out there. And you know it's active. Go out there to look for tracks. You might just get lucky if they've been moving around. Well, or even the day after that, 2 days after that. You know, sometimes, you know, if there's a good enough track that's been left, you know, in the wet soil, that track's going to last for at least a couple of days, at least if it doesn't rain, if it doesn't continue to keep raining. Um, but now there's a reason why I asked this question. All right. And unfortunately, it pertains to me. Okay. And the reason why it pertains to me is due to a individual who was made a video about me, and it was actually posted a day ago or so. And part of his rant was going on because now I want y'all's opinion on this here, but the individual was going on about, well, it seems to him that about 97, 98% of the time I go into the woods, I come out with a foot track. And the thing is, that is not true. I go in the woods a lot, more than he realizes it. And the thing is, I come out of there empty-handed so many times, never experiencing nothing. So, you know, never finding nothing. I come across possibilities, yes, but they're inconclusive. I can't say they're what they are either way. But yeah, over the years, I mean, I do have a collection of tracks. I share them proudly, and I am very proud of what I come across. And I'll share them over and over again. But not every time I go into the woods do I come across a foot track where I can cast it. I come across impressions all the time. They're very obvious. You know, like what you guys are talking about in the either in the leaves, especially in a pine area. When you got an area that's full of heavy pines, and the ground is soft and it's coated full of pines, you will see tracks and impressions. Like Baltimore was talking, he knows what a lot of what Virginia looks like, especially here in the western part of Virginia, especially through the national forest. It's a lot of heavy wooded pines. Yeah, I mean, you got some areas that have your oaks and maples and stuff where the leaves and stuff are heavy. But you know, I mean, basically, I was being ranted about, you know, several other things, but this is one of the main things that he brought up. I don't know if this is a form of him being jealous and just a typical way of that he may be hating on me. I don't know, but I am proud of what I come across, and that's about it.
Let me just say something real quick, please.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know, he is a friend of mine, and you are a friend of mine, and I really am not getting into this.
That's why I didn't bring his name up.
But I am going to say honestly that when I'm asked a question, I'm going to give my honest answer to it, and that was my honest answer to that question. I'm not. That was not a answer to take a side on that or anything else. That was my honest answer of how I feel about it. So I just want, you know, if anybody knows what's going on, that was just an honest answer to the question, and just be known that I don't have nothing to do with any other part of that.
Right. Absolutely. And that's why, you know, I'm not bringing no names up and everything, you know, because some people know who I'm referring to. That's why I try to ask it as a more of a survey question and to get everybody's opinion on it. I believe it's a safe, sound kind of way to present it. I just want to get y'all's opinion about it because, you know, again, you guys know I go out in the woods. People ask me, you come across and no. You know, a lot of times I don't even bother telling people I go out because I don't find something. You know, I mean, I enjoy just being out there, but I am very observant. I take the time, you know, and you know, I have found tracks out there before where I didn't have the material with me, but when I found awesome tracks, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna come back and cast this, you know. But I have to go way out of my way to go get the material. I'm not just buying the material to go way out of my way just to buy the material and to come back for nothing, you know. I mean, I've done that before, you know, because a track that I found with my father, people saw how awesome looking that track was. People were like, did you cast this? No, I didn't have that with me. But I drove 45 minutes back out, you know, to get the material and drive back there, okay, to plaster it, okay. And I got, you know, I've done that before. That wasn't all too long ago. I've done that. So I'm not just doing this for, you know, for popularity. You know, it was a real thing I came across, you know. I have had people that go into my area. Greg Corbin and his son, they've gone up there on their own, you know. And Greg's telling me about everything that him and his son see. They experienced stuff, you know, without me. They found tracks. They actually cast a track or two when they were up by themselves a few months back. So, you know, people are finding things there. You know, it's just because, you know, that's what they're looking for. If you're looking for it, you'll find it. And just like I did a YouTube live video earlier, just me, and I actually deleted it because, you know, I deleted it. I said, you know what? I'm not going to be the one to continue on any trouble. I'm going to leave it alone. Let the man rant, have his video posted full of bullshit. But I left it alone. And the thing is, my point was behind that. If some, oh man, I just lost my train of thought. Where was I going with this?
Hard to do when you get old.
Yeah. Thank you, Zach. But I guess, all right, my point is that this is where I was going with this. If you have an active area, and this, you know, and again, as far as not just experience things or having encounters, I mean, you know, just from having them, you got Bigfoot in the area. If you know what you're experiencing is a Bigfoot, and to find these tracks, I mean, if you know you got movement, you got activity, you know, and if you're looking, again, it's number one, looking and paying attention, being observant. If they have been through your particular area, if they've been around anywhere you're exploring or hiking, if they have been through there, and if, again, back to what you guys even brought up yourselves, if the soil or the terrain permits it, depending, like Zach, you said the one area in your area is solid ground, okay? And I have done field videos with observations on bear tracks. I've come across large individual bear tracks by themselves. And I ask people, I said, well, look, why am I finding a bear track by myself? The answer is simple. You depend, you know, we could walk in an area where it's soft, okay? We could leave our impressions, all right? And then in a step or two forward, we might not leave none. Because it depends. The terrain varies in certain areas. It may be solid here. It may be soft a foot away, okay? People come across individual Squatch tracks, and that was the biggest question for a long time. Why is people only finding individual Squatch tracks? It pertains to the wildlife too. You got to pay attention to the wildlife. If you're only finding single bear tracks, like I have on a number of occasions, even deer, it's funny. I found deer tracks, and everyone knows deer make, you know, they got the, you know, a little narrow, pointy, split hoofs, and you know, depending if the ground's hard enough, you're not going to see in tracks everywhere they go. Depends on the soil. It's more common to find deer tracks, yeah, of course, but bear tracks compared to Squatch tracks, it's the same thing. They're heavy. Both of them, they're heavy individuals. Even as humans, we can walk on the ground. We don't always leave tracks or impressions, but if the ground's soft enough, we're going to step and leave an impression. It's common sense. It depends on the terrain and the soil. Soft soil, you know, hard soil, rocky, you know, if it's a rocky terrain, yeah, I very much doubt you're going to find a track if it's rocky, you know. Like, that's why I was curious to know about Shaky's area. You know, he said most of it is pretty well rocky, you know. So those Squatches, I'm sure they're passing right through there, but they're traveling on rocks. They must, you know, they dwell in the outdoors, and, you know, and their feet and their pads, whatever if it's pads or whatever they got on the bottom of their feet, if, you know, they're pretty solid feet, you know. So I mean, they're walking on this tough terrain, in the stones, and, you know, I'm sure if they do walk through the leaves, you know, if they're that heavy, I'm sure they're gonna leave impressions, but those impressions ain't gonna last forever, you know. So. But yeah, that's the reason why I wanted to bring that up. I thought that was very interesting, you know, to get everyone's input on that. So I appreciate everybody sharing their information on that. But
one question I want to ask before we get off.
Yeah.
This is a totally different topic, because, you know, all across America, all across the world, matter of fact, there's different names for Bigfoot. The orang pendek, the yowie, the yeti, with the yeren, etc., skookum, oma, and everywhere they've got local areas, and they're like, like the other day, what are some local names for your Sasquatch? Well, the Sasquatch out here, I heard you reference to me at your E.C.B.R.O conference where you was talking about where I call them Thunder Giant. Uh,
Yeah.
that's just one of the many clans out here because um, not very many people call them by these names. They just call them Bigfoot or Squatch. I give them
Right.
the names to identify which clans they are by their habits and the ways they look and what I've seen them. Um, we got the whistling ones, the Thunder Giant, the Wild Man out here. There's Scar, that one Bigfoot I had a run in with last year, and we got one guy. Well, my neighbor over here's got a Sasquatch out here on his property that he's named Aripuku, which is a name for an Indian wild man from his home country of India. So I'm wanting to go down the panel here, Baltimore, Daniel, Shake. I want you guys to give your input. What are some of the names that y'all have for Bigfoot in your areas?
Well, I'll go ahead and jump on this one real quick. I mean, I don't have no nicknames for them, but however, I know here in the state of Virginia, it has been a long name. It's actually listed in, if you go down to Southwest Virginia, they actually have a little store or slash museum with some Bigfoot, legend information, which there's been a nickname. I'm sure it's the same goes in other areas, but the wood booger. I'm sure you guys all heard of that, the wood booger.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, Southwest Virginia, that's one of the nicknames given to it. But I never really gave it any specific nickname. I always referred to it as Bigfoot, Sasquatch, whatever. I know some people, in Virginia, they have their own names. They actually name these individuals. Like I know one individual, he names one of his called Henry. So, but that's whatever. I mean, I don't know. As far as any other nicknames, as far as just giving our own nicknames, that the wood booger is pretty much the only Virginia nickname that I'm familiar with. It's funny, but I did want to bring this up real quick. I know over in Ohio, Paul Hayes, there's one he actually refers to as what is it? The stone giant or the rock giant.
Otney Yarhead.
What's that?
Otney Yarhead is the name the Iroquois give the Stonish giant.
Yeah. Yeah, we had actually Paul Hayes, I believe it was a couple years ago, 2 or 3 years ago. Well, we had him on as guest, and he shared some information with us regarding that. But yeah, I thought that was pretty cool, very interesting. So, but yeah, that's pretty much all I know as far as Virginia goes. Like I said, the woodburger, so forth. Or another common one in most areas too is, like you said, the wild man of the forest. That's a very common name. In most Native American tribes, they do have their own given names towards the legend of it, or whatever their legend of Bigfoot is. So, but that's me.
Baltimore, Shake, you got anything?
Yeah, I do. See, also to Texas, it was part of Spain a long time ago. And so the Spanish used to call Bigfoot the Espatasma Negro, the Black Ghost. And
Yeah, I like that name.
Yeah, so
cool.
they haven't. Yeah, I haven't heard the always called that anymore. And then my family calls him Grita Feo, so basically means he who screams ugly. And we even call him Booger. And I even raise my own honey, and even my little honey jars, I call it Booger honey. So with a little emblem of Bigfoot on it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so we normally come up there but that's what normally people call it, or you know, so that's what they normally called it, like in the 1700s, 1800s was el fantasma negro. So.
You speak the.
This brought up to my mind. Just rung to my mind though. I was talking about it last night in my live feed. My fiance talking about. Oh yeah, by the way, I'm engaged, guys.
Yeah, I was about to interrupt you there. I said, your fiance? What the hell?
Yeah, she was talking about over in Perryville, Missouri area where she grew up. She's talking about where her and her friend had one that they called the Shadow Man. and she described it as being your average Bigfoot, about 8-9 foot tall, and he'd always stay in the shadows, but far enough off where he wasn't in your way, but you could actually still see him. And she said he's solid black. Shake, you still awake?
Yep, I'm just sitting here chilling.
All right, your turn on that. Local names, bro. It's your turn.
Well, I got a buddy of mine that calls his buddy. Well, my buddy up here calls his Marvin.
Ah.
I call them mountain monkeys.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it.
Another one I want to touch on. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, bro.
No,
You
go ahead.
I'm done.
All right, well, because I've only got 13% left on my battery before I jump off here. Another Bigfoot that stems in Cherokee folklore was you guys don't know what I'm talking about, the Sukaloo.
I'm not familiar with that one.
The Cherokee Devil?
Oh, okay. Cherokee Devil, yeah. Okay.
And that shit on Mountain Monsters.
Well, actually, I did some research. I actually did some research into this thing, and there's another name that goes along with it, and it's called Sukaloo, and I looked it up. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's been a while since I did my research on it. Judah and Sukaloo both translate into the same thing, the slanted-eyed giant or the sloping giant, and up with the legend to pretty much the same thing. What is y'all's take on this? Because it was supposed to be able to manifest in and out of spirit form. Before you guys go on to say that, give me your answers. Remember that with every bit of folklore, there is truth that inspired it. So I'll take you guys' input on that one.
Now, again, are we referring to the Jersey Devil? You said?
No, Cherokee Devil.
Oh, the Cherokee Devil. I'm not really sure to really how to state on that statement on that one.
In Baltimore, you can jump in on me on this, but I'm a quarter Native American, and as far as I know, in Native American folklore, pretty much any animal could change into spirit at some point. That's really a broad subject there as far as spirit. Native Americans were very in tune with the earth and the spirit is in the spirits of the earth, and they believed a lot in spirits. So that just me personally, I ain't into things just shifting into spirits and morphing and I don't know. I think that's more folklore than it is actual physical being.
Well, remember this though, that with every bit of folklore, they didn't have the brains really at the time to really dream up this stuff. They had no outside influences, so something had to inspire this.
Right. There's sometimes too is a lot of the things would be superstition, and there's sometimes that there's a lot of people who are very superstitious. I'm going to start it off like that. Um, they also talk to them as shapeshifters or anything like that. There's a lot of Native Americans that don't talk that way because of fear of something bad would happen. We always called them the guardians of the forest. We knew that they were there. We just basically respected them, and they respected us. And then I had a question the other day, and I thought it was pretty fascinating. I took a while for me to answer the question: is why do we call Bigfoot the guardian of the forest? There's sometimes if people did not, if they were not too familiarized with the people that were coming in, they would come up there and make their presence known, and what they would do is they would just scare them off. And so that's what they meant by the protector of the forest, because they basically protected the Native American people and the animals as well. I've heard I heard them call all these different names, and there's some tribes that even have their own different style of mask for Bigfoot, or even doing their own special dance for Bigfoot. And it's great that the nations of Native American nations are starting slowly to come out and talk about it, because there's sometimes that they don't even talk about that because they consider Bigfoot basically Bigfoot's considered a sacred animal to them.
There's also a lot of tribes that feared it and called it a cannibal and a devil, and it goes from one side of the spectrum all the way to the other. It goes from being a kind-hearted spirit all the way to a cannibal devil. I mean, it it all depends on I guess the region of the country or the tribe that you talk to.
Right. I'm going to throw a scenario out there. Let's say, for example, three brothers are out there hunting. Let's say in the 1700s. Let's give it the 1800s. They're out there hunting and everything like that. And then all of a sudden, they get into an accident. Somebody gets into a fight or a knife fight or whatever, and they don't want to. And so they don't want to blame each other. So they're going to come up there and blame something that people have actually seen before, and they
Yeah.
probably would have blamed it Bigfoot. Hey, come over here and let's look at the body, and I'll show you what it did. There's a lot of stories that people have written in history that are not really true, and
Right.
Sure.
we believe that as being true, because they basically sell newspapers or magazines, or something to just capture the people's minds, going, "Oh my God, is this really? Did they really see this?" Or did this really happen? Just to sell magazines, or some of the old stories and old legends, like you said, has a little bit of truth for it, but the majority of it is false. Just basically making a mountain out of a molehill.
Right. It's funny you say that because that kind of reminds me or brings me to the subject of Dogman. Now, I'm not going to deny people are seeing something called the Dogman, but I believe it's, and me and Shaky and others have discussed this before, which we believe it could be just a form of Bigfoot and people misidentifying it as something totally that it's not. But the legend of Dogman started off, and I mean, maybe I didn't dig deep enough, but this is what I came across. The Dogman, it started off as a song back in the 1950s, I believe it was, and then it seems like from there on forward, the legend started spreading, going wild, because people then all of a sudden, from out of nowhere, just started seeing a dog man, a werewolf type creature, being spotted, all over the place. And this all originated out of the state of Michigan. Now people all everywhere are saying, "Oh, we see a dog man." Well, what if that dog man
Wow.
is just a Bigfoot?
Well, I'll tell you where one place that I found where it stemmed with the werewolf legend, the dogman legend, started in Gévaudan, France, and I'll post it up a little bit later. I won't go because I'm on 4%, but I'll talk to you guys a little bit more about it later. But I'm going to jump off here and I'm going to leave you with a little story. Guy come into work one night, whiter than a sheet, and you thought he'd seen the Grim Reaper. Said, "What's wrong with you? You look like you seen death." He goes, "Buddy, I saw something so terrifying no man had ever seen in his life." He goes, "What'd you see? A ghost?" He goes, "No, worse than that." He said, "Well, what's worse than that?" He said, "You see the devil?" He goes, "Way worse than that." And he goes, guy stood there and thought about it a little bit, and he said, "Well, what could be worse than a spook and the devil?" He goes, "My mother-in-law."
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
Well,
you tell your future mother-in-law that joke and see what happens.
well, this is Blimp signing off. I'll see you guys on the trail. You guys stay squatchy.
All right, thank you, Zach.
All right, love you, boys. Talk to you all later.
All right.
See ya.
Oh, Lord, Lord, Lord. I actually thought he was going to go somewhere with actually seeing a real monster or something. Damn. Oh, Lord. All right. Oh, man. Let's see. What else we got going on here? I'm trying to think if there's anything else I could talk about here. Not. Well, I don't have nothing really else to really discuss except for, like I said, everybody just bear with me when eventually I'll finish my report and my blog about my most recent outing. Um, and like I said, I'm waiting on some other information before I share what's going on with the conference for next year. Um, like I said, I have gained a couple new vendors, which is very exciting. So, like I said, once I learn more information, I will be glad to share and update everybody on that information. So,
Baltimore, I wish you could
um,
get down to that thing because, man, you'd make one hell of a great speaker for that conference.
well, actually, while we're on here, if I'm not mistaken, Baltimore, you said you would be able to come up there, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and that you're confirmed on that. So, yeah. Well, since you brought it up, Shaky, and there's 4 viewers on here, I wasn't going to say anything, but Baltimore did confirm with me to be one of the speakers. So.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So that's why I was like, oh man, crap, now I'm stuck. I gotta say something.
No, you never say anything. You could have just sent me a message saying, shut the fuck up. God dang.
So he knows Virginia. He used to live here. So.
That's cool.
So it'll be awesome seeing him. So, but I guess I'll have to delete this podcast when I'm done. Just not. It's all good.
Well, we
yeah.
know who you're going to announce in August now.
So yeah, we really do have some great people lined up. I mean, these guys are awesome, all of them. So
then you can announce me in September. Just keep the ball rolling.
Ladies and gentlemen, Shaky Jr. as our what was I gonna say?
September.
Yeah, Shaky Jr. will be our September announcement for our conference. Trash guy.
I dropped the junior now. I went ahead and got rid of that.
Oh, okay.
I said the hell with it. And then point keeping that anymore.
Yeah. What was something gonna say? Yeah, like I said, with our speakers that we do have set up for next year, people need to understand, regardless if anyone agrees or disagrees or doesn't like or does like, all these individuals come from a different walk of life and they present something different. And that's why I chose these people, because they all have knowledge in something that the others don't. And that's what we need. We need people from different walks of life, and so other people could hear it and then draw their own conclusions on what they want to put together. And I think with who I have chosen is going to be just that. It's really going to bring a great presentation to everybody, and it's going to be and I hope when all the speakers are thrown out there, I'm going to try to see if I'm going to get with each individual and get a list together. I'm going to be organized with the speakers. But right now I have to do one thing at a time, and then I'm going to get together with the speakers. I'm going to get together with the vendors and know exactly who's going to be doing what. And then basically, and then it's all going to be lined up. I know as far as like the Ohio conference, they don't do that with the vendors there. They don't speak on who's going to be doing what, but for my own purpose, for my own reasons, I want to know that way, make sure no one's going to be selling the same thing, which at this point they're not, because I know I'm well familiar with what everyone's bringing to the table as far as vendor wise. Because I know Ken Gearhard, like I mentioned, is him as one of our speakers. He will also be one of our vendors because he as a speaker and him being an author and what he does, he's going to have his own table because he'll be selling his books on site. So yeah, like I said, I know one of our other speakers will be having a table because I'm not sure exactly what they'll be selling. But I'll get with him later on that. So. And like I said, there's a lot of other information I can't throw out there yet till it's concrete. So I could speak about it now, but it wouldn't do no good. Things could change between now and then. So But like I said, I will update everybody as soon as possible. As soon as I get everything concrete, I will have documentation to where every individual will sign to confirm further, and it's pretty much their agreement forms and everything. And I will say this much: we are seeking sponsorship. We have a well put together, very professional sponsorship program with different levels of sponsorship. So the E.C.B.R.O. First Annual Virginia Bigfoot Conference, we are seeking sponsors. So, and sponsorships, like I said, there's all kinds of detailed information in the package. If anyone out there is interested in being a sponsor for our event, again, there's some information. You will be well promoted. I will tell you that much. And your name will be put on our T-shirt, our official event T-shirt. So, but again, all the information I'll get up there later. So, but tell you what, Baltimore or Shaky, do you guys have any thing you want to throw out there before we jump off?
Yeah, I want to throw something out there. Here, I had an eyewitness, and I just want to check if y'all ever heard of this. I had one of my eyewitnesses. I've been knowing him since I was small. He actually seen Bigfoot going across the field. He described it perfectly. Arms swinging. Took off like a quarter of a mile, picking up speed like it's nothing, and just walked across the fence line and went down the creek. After that, can you still hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay, and then after that, hold on. Are you still there?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
and
we're
then
both here.
and then after that, he's down the he's at a different location, pretty close to the creek area, same creek, Medio Creek, and he actually heard something. He said hear weird sound of the creek, a sound that he had never heard before, and he said that this animal sounded like a cross between a parrot and a Bremel bull. And he comes up there. He goes, he's never heard this animal before, and he tells his cousin, he goes, "Hey, you want to come with me to find out what that sound is?" And his cousin goes, "Hell no!" He goes, "Well, I'm going to go see it. I want to find out what this thing is." And he goes down the creek. And he hears that sound. He goes, "Mr. Galvan, it's a sound between. The best way to describe it was a cross between a parrot and a bull." And he comes up there, and he actually, as he's hearing this sound, he sees this coyote going across on the other side of the creek, and he actually hears this animal, and all of a sudden the coyote stops, and his back of his hair stands up and everything, and the very first, I guess, the coyote actually saw the creature, whatever this thing was, and he said that this coyote went right over him and just jumped right over him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I don't know if I've heard of hoops. I heard of all these different kinds of calls, but have y'all ever heard of anything a cross between a parrot and a Brahma bull or a cow?
I can't, honestly, I'm trying to imagine that. As far as you talking
The
about.
how that Bobo does sounds like a cow. If you think
Yeah.
about it, it's a woo, that almost sounds like a cow.
Right.
So where would the parrot? What is the parrot sound?
Um,
Is it
Carla,
hitting another? Is it hitting another note? Is it hitting a
it
higher octave?
yeah, that's the thing. It hits another note. It definitely hits a note because I remember it must have been like around 2 or 3 years ago, and I know that I heard the story before, but I'm going to go ahead and give you another scenario about the sound. Um, and then um, and then and this certain I was in this certain ranch. I can't mention his name, and I was sitting down, and then I heard something down this field, and I did a call. Bigfoot call, and all of a sudden this whistling sound started coming, and it sounded like a sound of a parrot. It was a very strange, unique whistling sound this thing made. And then all of a sudden it whistled again, and it did like 2 or 3 times, trying to figure out where this call is coming from. And the very first thing that came to my mind is, don't do any more calls. Apparently there's something lost out there. And sure enough, I heard this whistling sound. It kept on whistling, and all of a sudden, it started going towards the creek beds, towards the creek bed area. And I heard it whistling, and as it's going deeper, deeper into the creek, and then all of a sudden, it must have whistled for around 3 to 5 minutes, and then I guess he found what he was looking for, and after that, I didn't hear any more sound. Yeah, but it was one of them sounds. A friend of mine actually had a parrot, and it actually sounded similar to that bird, the way that it would actually whistle.
Did it have like a Did it have like a screech sound to it? A screech?
It did have, yeah, a screechy whistling sound.
Oh.
And to me, the very first thing that I thought of is it was a baby. And that was the very first thing I thought of. This is a baby Sasquatch. It's a baby something. It's a sound that I haven't even heard before. And then when he came up there and brought up the cross between that Bremel bull and that whistling sound, I don't know if whatever that animal was looking for something or a certain call or anything. And I just wanted to check if y'all ever heard of anything like that before.
Well, you know, I believe, just like crows or any other animal, I believe they have a language. I don't believe they speak Cherokee or English or anything else, but I do believe they have a language amongst themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And unless somebody has lived in the woods with these creatures for a long period of time, we don't know what their language is. We have no clue, and we don't know every sound they make. So, we don't know. So we've heard howls, we've heard whoops, we hear whistles. So he may have heard something, that was something unique. You know what I mean? That just hasn't been heard. It's very possible. It could have been a call that meant something, something different.
Right.
Or it's very hard to say, but if I had to guess, I'm guessing that they have that's a language, and that he witnessed a part of their language, and it was communicating out something for them to to know what to do.
Right.
Hmm.
Yeah. If y'all want to see that, I have it in my page. I think it's a B County, a B Picayune, I think it was. And the old man, his name was Mr. Abrigo. He was a dark-skinned man with a white beard and mustache, and he was the one that told that story. He actually told that story. So go see that. You can look into my page.
Okay, that's very interesting.
Yep.
Yeah, this individual, do you actually know him?
Yes, sir.
That'd be interesting. I don't know how possible it would be, but that would be interesting to get him on here to talk about that with us one day.
Oh yeah.
You think he would be willing to do that?
I could probably invite him to the house, and you could probably have a live broadcast. You could have a broadcast, and he could sit down with me, and we could talk about it. And I'm pretty sure that he wouldn't. I wouldn't mind it at all.
Okay, yeah, that'd be great because you could inform him that we're very understanding, very open minded, and we understand he wouldn't experience any ridicule. You could let him know that he would be very comfortable chatting with us.
Sure.
He knows that we're very we're very comfortable, laid back people. So so yeah, I mean that'd be great. And that way get him to describe what you were talking about too, because I'm trying to imagine the sound of I'm familiar with what a parrot sounds like, and then the bull. At the same time, I'm trying to combine them. I want to know, did it start off with a screech and then kind of went into that deep bow sound, moan, or stuff like that?
Don't know. And then so the thing is, again, Shake and I were talking, and we were saying about like different areas where people live at, and and about the experience that other people had from one state to another, and what's a little bit odd about our Bigfoot compared to y'all's Bigfoot is there's something different, and that's the only thing that I know that was really different about the Bigfoot down here in South Texas, especially in my
Yeah.
area. So that if I didn't hear for myself that certain sound, then I would never brought it up. But just listening to that, just hearing that sound is just totally fascinating.
Yeah.
Let me give you an example of that, Baltimore.
Hmm.
Um, People in Spain speak Spanish.
Right.
People in Mexico speak Spanish. People in South America speak Spanish.
Right.
But that Spanish, to some degree is the same, but to a lot of degree is not the same.
Exactly.
So
Well put. Yep.
you know what I'm saying there, right?
Oh, I know exactly what you're saying.
Right. So these creatures from nationwide could have some meaning, to their dialect, but but each area has its own dialect.
Correct.
Hmm.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's just like what they call it. They say that Bigfoot speaks a certain language that I don't know if you heard the expression, samurai talk.
Yeah, the
Yes, I
samurai
heard of
chatter.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
samurai chatter. Yeah, and so to me, if I would hear something like that in the forest, I would say, what in the world is that? And like y'all were saying, maybe will be one certain way of communication that they do amongst each other. So,
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm. Interesting.
yeah. So yeah, and
Oh no, go ahead.
if you want to have a date for me to give us Mr. Rob to go because his health is not too well, and
Okay.
I try to record him as much as I possibly can because Lord forbid if I lose him one day, his stories will take him to the grave. But I like to him to talk about these certain things and like that. Somebody else can listen to his experiences like that. At least these stories could actually be brought down.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, that'd be great because if we get them on here, it'll be after we go off air, it'll be documented through archives. So
Hmm.
like these, that's why I like another reason why I like having podcasts. And when we share information, we can look back and say, well, this is what we were talking about. This is what we, so forth. So yeah, that'd be great to get his information.
Hmm.
Um, right now, as far as I know, I'm open next Friday. If we want to plan a podcast for next Friday night. We could schedule that. I guess it's 8 o'clock. Is good for me. We could even start at 10 o'clock. Friday nights. I know when we used to do things on Friday nights, 10 o'clock was usually a lot better for a lot of people, especially if they live, people that are on the West Coast. Because you got the different time zones and stuff. So 10 o'clock would probably be more efficient for people. So um, I don't know. 10 o'clock does seem okay with you guys for next Friday night.
Sounds
Which
good.
Okay, let me double check
I
the
don't
date.
think I got anything going on.
All right, hold on. Let me pull my calendar. Because today's the
Eighth, then ninth.
yeah, today's the 9th. So all right, that would be this coming Friday, the 14th, July 14th. So yeah, so let's do this. Yeah, July 14th at 10 p.m. So and yeah, I'm writing that down right now so I don't forget it myself. So yeah, for those viewing and watching now, save the time and date. July 14th at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So it is 9:43 p.m. Eastern Standard Time right now. So this coming Friday, July 14th, we'll go live. Um, so yeah, Baltimore, yeah, if you can get that set up, that'd be great. For some reason, if you can't make it, that's okay. We'll still go live.
All right.
You know, we'll have some topics, and we'll actually, if you can't be here, we'll turn it into a questionnaire. Get the viewers, active and interact with us because if people knowing that we're coming back with a live podcast, they're going to want to be active. So, once we get this word out that, we're going to be doing this stuff, they'll be wanting to listen in and watch. So,
Speaking of, is the live chat doing anything, or is it dead?
I've been watching it. A few people have been talking here and there. A couple of people that have been listening just jumping on and saying hi. Nikki was saying she's been watching the whole time, and she's just a little while ago. She said, "Okay, so now I have to go to Fred Kenny's video to see what happened. I don't know what's going on in Fred Kenny's video, so
Mm-hmm.
but she's going to watch see what he's doing. I guess he's doing a live podcast or something too. But I don't know if he's either doing that or something because, yeah, talking about him there. Apparently, let me bring this up real quick. I know everyone's got it. Maybe not everybody, but everyone's gonna be familiar with that fake link that's floating around. It's it's from Breaking News 365.net. There's another one. It's Breaking News 267.net or .org. They're the same people. Basically, anybody could go to that link and create your own fake blog. It's a fake blog. There's been a lot of local Virginia Bigfoot ones. People have been sending me a lot of the same ones left and right. And it's just fake because if you enter in Breaking News 365.net, it'll pull up as a prank site where anyone could go in there and create a simple joke. It's all a joke. But people actually, some of them are actually going for it. Some of them just take it to heart. But there was one. I since I learned that it was fake and that you could create your own, I did one. And if the thing is, for the individual I made a joke about, he definitely twisted it all around. It wasn't. He was trying to say that I'm denying Bigfoot in his area. I did not deny Bigfoot in his area because I've camped in his area, and I know there's Bigfoot there. It's just I'm not lucky like he does. He gets to see Bigfoot as soon as he enters the grounds. Fred Canny claims to see Bigfoot every day, all day. He's probably the only man that I know that's seen over 80 to 100 Bigfoot in his lifetime. So if you believe that, then pigs do fly, I guess. So, but besides that, I never denied Bigfoot in his area. I just, it was a joke about the 18-foot Bigfoot that him and Connie claimed to saw. That's all that was about. But that he took other parts of it and twisted it. But it was just for fun. Hey, it's innocent, but take it however. I don't care. I can care less what people think about it. But that's just me. But so anyway, but just be aware of Breaking News 365.net or Breaking News 267.net, whatever. They're fake links. If you see a Bigfoot report in it or any other thing, it's all fake. Ignore it. It's not real. Anyone could make a post in it and post it. It's all fake. So just be on the lookout for that. There's nothing wrong with having a little innocent fun sometimes, but some people, take it to heart. So, oh well, life goes on, right? So, but let's see. With that being said, any of you guys have any last words before we jump off?
I'm thinking I'm all right. Can't think of anything.
I'm good. Also, too, I'm gonna if it's okay with you, I'm also going to talk to Mr. Obligo, check if he could be there. And there was another person that everybody talks to anytime that they have a Bigfoot sighting in the Normanna area, in the Bettis area. His name is Mr. Robbie. And he was the one that actually, he was the person that first notified when I actually seen it. And he actually went up there and actually took me to his office and actually sat down with me and started telling me about all these encounters that all these other people had. And then I could probably ask Mr. Robbie and Mr. Obligo to be there the same day if that was all right.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Now he's a guy that has a pictures of but I'm pretty sure that he won't show them, but he
Okay.
would talk about it. And he actually has a house, and these pictures were taken like around 12 years ago. that actually he found a house down by down by um, a place called Berkeley, a place that they actually seen Bigfoot out there, but they call it the Monkey Man over there.
Ah,
Um, yeah, so there's a place that they actually saw the animal actually using a stick as a grubbing hole of some sort, trying to dig something out. But in the same area, that he actually found a structure of a house that the animal made, and there was no trash, no nothing around there. So it was a pretty fascinating uh, photos that he had.
right. Hmm. That's very interesting.
Hmm.
Baltimore, I do gotta admit to you, I ain't gonna say it publicly. I ain't gonna say it on here because then other people might be asking and bugging the heck out of you. But I know. Well, Shaky was. I know. I think you showed Shaky a picture, and he won't say who it's from
Huh?
or who it is. But I don't know who it is. But I don't know. There's something somebody saw it, and they won't say who it's from, and I'm jealous. I don't know if anyone out there knows who it is, but somebody said they saw something and it was the real deal. And
Oh no, that wasn't Baltimore.
oh no, somebody I don't know who it was, but somebody out there has a good picture of something. I'm very curious to
Yeah,
see who.
I ain't telling you.
I know you weren't telling me, but I kept thinking it might have been Baltimore for some reason. So,
No,
but I don't know who it is. But man, I really want to see that picture.
you had your chance. You missed it. You won't see it
Wait,
now.
where was I? Where
That was
was I
at the
whenever we showed?
conference.
Oh,
They told us on one of your podcasts who had it.
I don't remember.
They said right there on the podcast, said this person has a picture, and I was at the bar, turned around, and the person was right behind me, and I fucking right there called him out on it. Damn, he didn't pull it out and show it to me.
Oh my! Wait a minute.
Dude, you
What?
missed out.
Wait a minute. It wasn't Paul, was it?
Look.
I'm gonna stop calling out names because I don't want to name
Look,
that person and be the one.
look,
All right, go ahead.
look. All I'm gonna say is, all I want to tell you is, we parked the van, and I said, look, Daniel,
Okay.
look right there. When we parked the van, I said, walked inside. I said, look, Daniel, look right there.
Oh, the first person we saw,
That's who it was.
Cliff Brackman.
You
Ha.
open your mouth.
Oh well. I'll have to email him. I was like, hey, rumor has it.
Oh my God.
No, that's cool though, for real. So, but like, yeah, no, I won't say nothing to him. But I don't. Then again, I'm gonna be pressured myself into wanting to see it. But
If it ain't in person, you ain't gonna see it.
yeah, oh yeah, he got on his phone or something. Yeah. Well, I guess I'll have to go. I'll find ways to get in touch with him somehow. Can you email me the picture on your phone, buddy? That's what. Like, it'll be confidential. I won't show nobody.
Yeah, it ain't gonna happen.
I'll be like, if you just at least email it to me, I'll be happy. I'll blow it up like I got the Patterson.
I'm
Oh
I'm
yeah,
I'm, I'm really shocked he even showed it to me.
wow. Now that's cool that he did that though. Seriously, you know.
Yeah, I don't even remember who told us. It was right on our podcast. I mean, I really don't know because it was on our podcast. It's already out there. But somebody on our
uh,
podcast told us about it, and I was sitting at the lounge, and I turned around, and he was right behind me, and then for whatever reason, I remembered it, and I was like, dude, and I called him right out right there. And I don't remember, there was two or
wow,
three people standing around, and I said, dude,
wow.
I got to know. I said, do you really have this picture? And he said, he just looked at me. He pulled his
Yeah.
phone out. He just said, ain't nobody really supposed to know. I said, well, they told us. They told me about it. and, and he held the phone, but he let me look at it, man. And I mean, it's a game camera, and the damn thing is walking right past that son of a bitch. And I mean, tell you, it ain't
What?
fake. It,
Wow. Man.
man.
See, that makes you wonder. And here's another thing regarding the show Finding Bigfoot. I think they saved the good stuff for themselves. I mean, well, not necessarily, but I believe that they possibly they have enough stuff to where they could probably show more things to get more, But you notice how they do the shows. They get information. They gather a lot of information and details from those who they interview. From their town hall meetings. And the
Well,
thing is, I believe in order when they get good stuff like that, I can understand them not exposing it and opening it to the public.
I don't think he was
That,
allowed to. I think the person let him have that picture, let him get that picture, and told him do not let
yeah,
anybody else see it. And then I think someone kind of ratted him out on it. But
right. Wow, that's interesting though.
You know,
Now, oh, go ahead, go ahead.
yeah. See, dealing with the show, something always in the back of my head. It goes if they find any evidence of themselves that they actually had certain proof about it without reasonable doubt, like the footprint track that they found. That couldn't be explained. Even Renee could explain it. She had a hard time finding an explanation for it. And I'm pretty. If they, I think that they actually found some stuff out there, like y'all said that they're not sharing to the public, because if they
Right,
actually found Bigfoot, there wouldn't be a show.
well, it ain't no more
right,
anyway. They filmed the last part of it, and it's done. The season's
yeah.
over. The thing's done.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah, I've always had that question back in my head if they really truly found really good evidence that this animal did exist.
right. Hmm. I mean, I believe it's a possibility that they have something, and I guess they feel that it's better to keep it confidential for whatever reasons. So,
You really got to wonder what would happen. What would really happen if it ever came to light that these things do exist? What would actually happen?
right.
What would the logging industry come to a screeching halt? What would happen? What would happen to our economy? What would happen to us? I don't know. Who knows?
Well, in my opinion, and I kind of stated this before, because and this is the possibility. I know others share the same thoughts. But if the subject of if Bigfoot was to come out in a mass public acknowledgement, that there could be a number of things possibly to go down. One could be a possible for everyone to think about too. If Bigfoot was widely known and become if the law or the governments would acknowledge that hey, we do have a large upright hairy figure roaming North America, and they are spotted and seen here by so and so had sightings here, and then there's and people start looking into it, and they start giving enough belief, that is being acknowledged by the government and widely known, then there's different parks and recreation things where people go camping, and they, out of fear, people might start breaking out of fear and not wanting to go into these woods, or you might get a bunch of crazies forming their own groups to go out with guns to look for the subject. And because out of fear, people may act out and just get stupid about it. And then again, like I say, it could lead into other possibilities where, yeah, could it affect the economy? Like with what happened in 1981 when the spotted owl was discovered. Those little things like that could come about. Could it stop? Hey, where logging does still take place. Hey, we're taking away the home of in a very rare species. They may declare a very rare species, and then it may become a declared an endangered species because it is a rare species. Because for those who do acknowledge and understand Bigfoot, because they may date him back during the prehistoric era. For those who might relate him to Gigantopithecus, if that was the case, then it has become a rare species. Because Gigantopithecus is no longer to exist according to science. Even though he was once acknowledged, if Bigfoot is related in any way, shape, or form to Gigantopithecus, many don't believe that, but I'm just saying I'm using that as a possibility. So, um, or is it, whatever it may be. But yeah, I think a lot of different things and possibilities could go down.
Well, for people not to go back in the woods camping would be ridiculous. They go to the beach and go swimming. Christ, and they got great white sharks in the freaking water. Come on,
right?
that, you know, there's a whole lot more things out there in the world that's a whole lot worse than a damn Bigfoot.
Yeah.
See, the thing is, we're basically feared upon the unknown. We've always been, you know,
right,
because they know they go into the oceans or whatever, or the seas or wherever where they hang out down the beach. They know that there's sharks there. They know that there's jellyfish there. They know that there are animals there that can really hurt them, but they still go in there anyway.
right,
Like the forest, people fear the night, and this, maybe they had a bad experiences when they were growing up as a kid, and the camping experiences and stuff, and the more they talk about it, the more they fear it because they just don't know what this animal would do. Because somebody actually told me about, being afraid of going camping because of Bigfoot. I said, you know what? He goes, the reason why I told the story out about Bigfoot and everything like that is, A, I seen it, and this is an animal that does not need to be feared. Because they hasn't hurt anybody. They haven't heard no reports of anybody getting killed by one. Because they're more afraid of you than, they're more afraid of you, of anything else. So that's why they stay hidden in the shadows.
Well, with that also being said, Baltimore, great shark attacks weren't recorded until people started to swim for recreation either. There were a whole lot of shark attacks before before they were but we don't know. People go missing all the time in the woods, but you don't know what they go missing from. Who knows?
Right.
Yeah.
It's going to be a mystery. It's just going to stay a mystery.
Right.
It's the thing is, they think they do exist. They need to be protected. If it ever came out that they scientifically exist, we got big game hunters. Damn well the first thing you're gonna do, I'm going out there and bag one of them freaking monkeys. That's that. And that's the mentality of some people.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna bag one of them some bitches.
Yep.
In Texas, you go to some places, California, New York. I even think in some places that there's laws that protect them. Texas, they're still legal to shoot. So
yeah, I had I heard a story, and I knew that it was BS, and I knew that that he went just to piss off. Sorry, I said that, but he had somebody angry about. They were saying that down over there in Berkeley, that they went up there and said that they saw a hairy monster down over there, and they were shooting at it. And he described it with long fangs and long fingernails.
Huh.
And so the only reason why I know that that's not a fact is because people have not said that Bigfoot had long fingernails or it had fangs. So they just made that story up just to BS around.
Right.
But stories like that, people will come up there and say negative stories about the animal. But it's totally up to. We know what the truth is, and and normally people will come to us for answers, and we could just give them the best answer as we possibly can give them.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think we're going to go ahead and conclude our podcast for the evening. I want to thank you guys for coming on, and I'm telling you what, I'm definitely looking forward to Friday night. So yeah, hopefully your friend could join us Friday night at 10 p.m. And
Yep.
so it's 10:03 right now. What is it your time right now, Baltimore? Is it your
Right
hour
now,
behind?
right now it's 9:03. So
Okay.
what I'll probably do is I'll probably go to him, and
Okay.
like that could be a lot easier for him. And also, Mr. Robbie lives around the same area, close by to him as well. So if
Okay.
we both could meet, and then I could just take my phone and we'll have our thing there.
Awesome. That'd be great. That'd be great. That's going to be very interesting. Definitely looking forward to hearing from your friends and seeing and hearing their stories and your encounters and then kind of go from there. So, but meanwhile, I'm going to go ahead and end the live podcast. I want to thank everybody for interacting with us and on the live chat. I've been watching them, and they've been staying on for a while, just listening and watching. So But meanwhile, you guys have a good night, and don't forget Friday night, July 14th at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will be live here on YouTube. So God bless everyone.